Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of Modesty's Money Masterclass. This is season 2, episode number 37. And today we're going to be bringing you nuggets and droplets from the weekend's events in Manchester and Birmingham, where I was invited as a panelist to the Manchester event organized by the Nigerian Society of Engineers at the University of Manchester. And on Saturday, I was invited as the sole speaker to deliver a seminar on finance and mortgages to the audience at the Equa Church in Birmingham. And I tell you what, those two events were just absolutely fantastic. You know, I had the fun of my life, I had the time of my life. And the beautiful part of it, in fact, the most beautiful part of it was that my family was part of that event. I went to that event, I took my whole family along, my wife, my 3 children, and it doubled as both a family trip and an event for me. So we spent the time in the hotel and then we went for these events. And today I just want to share with you part of the, some of the experiences, some of the expertise, some of the knowledge, some of the nuggets that we dropped at that event. Yes, you may not have been there physically, you may not even have been there virtually, but I just want to let you in on what the people who were there benefited from. So I don't like my audience being left out. I don't like my fans being felt left out, like, oh, we weren't able to make it, so how are we gonna get there? This is one way you're gonna get a bit of what we shared on that day. The other way to get it is our YouTube channel. I'm going to post it on our YouTube channel very soon. So if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, get there right now and subscribe to Modesty's Money Masterclass YouTube channel, and you are going to be getting first-hand knowledge of whenever we post a new content on there. And like I said, I'm going to be dropping some content solely for our YouTube audience, anytime soon. So get on there and like our contents, share the contents, and be part of the fan base and be part of the community. So basically, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. But as you can see, today's session is special because I'm standing. So if you're not ready for me today, I am always ever ready for you. I am standing today and I've chosen to stand and speak to you guys live from my office, just to show you how excited I am about today, just to show you how excited I was about the event on Saturday, and to show you how delighted I was about how that event went on Friday and Saturday. In fact, the event left me, giggling, some dancing, because I was so happy that my audience were so happy, putting smile on people's faces. That's the aim of every single person in this life. You should be aiming to put smile on people's faces. Whether you're a medical doctor, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a solicitor, whether you're a banker, whether you're a customer service assistant, whether you're a cleaner, whatever you're doing, how many people are smiling because of you? How many people are having a better life, a positive experience in life because of you? And that was all what last weekend was about. Watching my audience being so excited, I'm so happy, I'm being so grateful after the event, and what they have learned, how much impact it's had in their lives, and how they are willing and pushing to put it into practice and use it to make a difference in their life. I came out of that event buzzing, right? So that's the way I want you to feel after today's event. And after today's session, I want you to feel like something great has been dropped on your laps, and it's then left for you to do whatever you want to do with it. Thank you so much, Ikem. So let me jump straight into that. Now, over the weekend, so for this particular session, I'm going to focus on the money education part of it, because there were 2 parts of it. There was the money education, there was also the mortgage and property education. But I don't talk about mortgages and properties mainly on this channel, on this platform. I talk about mortgages and properties on Wednesdays on our Modesty's Property Consultants page. So I'm going to leave the mortgage and property side of things for Wednesday, but I'm going to focus on the money aspect of it today, right? So the from the Saturday event organized by the Equa Church in Birmingham, where I was invited as the sole speaker. I was asked to speak on the topic, in fact the theme was prudence and the mortgage systems in the UK. So I separated two things. I decided to talk about prudence first, and then the second session we talked about mortgage systems in the UK. So I'm going to focus on the prudence side of things and what we shared on that Saturday. So I started by describing what prudence, means to me personally, and what prudence generally entails. Financial prudence, like I said it was all about optimal allocation of your financial resources. Allocating your financial resources optimally, making sure that every pound, every currency that you spend or you save has an impact, a positive impact on your financial status and on your financial life generally. In essence, what I'm trying to say is, if I have £1, where am I going to put that £1? And wherever I put that £1, is that the most important place I can put it? Is that where that £1 is going to give me the most desired outcome? That's basically what financial prudence is. Financial prudence doesn't mean you should deny yourself good life if you can afford it. It also doesn't mean you should start living lavish life simply because you think you can afford it. Now, financial prudence means before you allocate that financial resource to anywhere, you ask yourself, is this the best place I can put this money? Is this where it's going to give me the most desired outcome? That most desired outcome might be in form of investment returns. It might be in form of securing your future financial welfare. It might also just be psychological satisfaction. Yes. You might just be an emotional satisfaction that the money has given to you. So, is that the most desired outcome that you can get out of the financial allocation? If this can stick to your brain, trust me, you will be financially prudent for the rest of your life. Because before you spend that money, you're going to ask yourself, is this the best use of this money? And the best way to analyze it is to check, what is the opportunity cost of putting this money here? Which means, if I don't put this money here, what else can I use it for? And that other thing that I can use it for, of what benefit am I going to get from that? And is that benefit going to outweigh the benefits that presently I'm planning to put that money into? So if, for example, I want to buy myself a wristwatch, and I've gone to price that, and that wristwatch costs, say, £250. And I'm going to ask myself, £250 spent on this wristwatch, is that the best and the most desired outcome that this £250 is going to give to me? Is that the best way I can spend this £250? If that's not the best way, what other ways can I use these £250, and can I get a better returns on those? Can I get a better result out of that? So if the opportunity cost of spending £250 on that wristwatch is maybe putting that £250 into an investment account or into a savings account, because I know that if I know that I can live without that £250 wristwatch and nothing's going to happen, because I have got other wristwatches that can serve me the same purpose. The opportunity cost of spending the £250 definitely is me taking that money and putting it into an investment account or into a savings account or into a stocks and shares ISA. Okay, so that is what prudence is all about. It's about optimal allocation of resources. And then prudence also is about living not just within your means, but below your means. Because people just think, oh, as long as I'm living within my means, it means I'm financially okay, I'm financially smart. It means I am financially intelligent. Financial intelligence is not about you living within your means. It is about you living below your means. Financially intelligent people, their key objective every single time is to spend less than they earn. And that's why they become so wealthy. Because it has been built into their DNA that they're going to be spending less than they earn. And if that's their guiding principles in life, trust me, that principle leads them to places that you would only imagine. I'm talking about principles. I spoke about principles on Saturday when I was talking to the audience at the Equa Church event. And I said to them that life that we live is built and lived on principles. Principles guide every aspect of this life. Whether it's in your marriage, there are principles that you will apply in marriage and you will get a successful marriage. Financially, your personal finance is dependent on the principles that you're going to apply. All right? You being wealthy or you being financially comfortable are dependent on you applying the financial principles of life. So, the financial success you seek is not dependent on how much prayers you make or how much time you spend in the church. Because I was talking to mostly church audience on that day. And I said to them, there's no money in the church. What you get in the church is your spiritual connection between you and God. And then praying to God for the wisdom to put into practice the principles that God has laid down to guide us through life. That's what you come to church to do. God does not give you any money. He gives you the ability to make wealth. That's what the Bible said. So God gives you the ability to make wealth. So that ability lies up here. That ability lies in your discipline. How disciplined are you? How do you really commit yourself to living a disciplined, principled, and cultural financial lifestyle? That's what you go to church to do. There's no money in the church. So principles of life are the guiding things that make people successful or not successful. Successful people are not doing things differently that are not doable. The only difference in what they are doing that makes them financially successful is that they are applying the basic financial principles, which are live below your means, spend less than you earn. So I said to them, that brings us to what I call the wealth consolidation formula, right? Because the ultimate destination of you being financially prudent should be you being wealthy, right? Your ultimate aim, your ultimate destination of financial prudence should be to target wealth, to make as much wealth as possible, to acquire as much wealth as possible, to build as much wealth as possible. So being financially prudent should always be leading you to that ultimate destination, which is wealth building. So we now said that wealth building is standing on a tripod. There are three things that are holding this pillar called wealth building. And we mentioned those three things as save, invest, and ensure. Save, invest, and ensure. Okay, so and those were the basis of my lecture, my presentation on that Saturday. Based on these three principles, based on these tripod elements of wealth consolidation. If you want to consolidate on your wealth, these are the three things that you've got to focus on: savings, investments, and insurance. And then I went ahead to explain how that happens. Now, what savings does is that savings lays the foundation of wealth building, right? And then upon that foundation, you're going to build the structure. And that structure is built through investments. Okay? When you have built that structure of wealth using your investment, you can now fence that structure with your insurance. Insurance now provides the protective architecture, the protective structure, the protective element of that wealth building. So that is you, that's your wealth, all taken care of. You have laid the foundation with savings, you have built on that foundation with investments, and then you have secured that wealth with insurance. And that was how I broke these things down to my audience on Saturday, saying that upon this tripod rests the solid structure of wealth. Breaking it down further, we started with savings. And I was advising I was talking to my audience, and I said to them, look, nobody has made wealth in this life without starting from savings. I have read books, I have listened to podcasts, I have watched a lot of millionaires and billionaires. None of them has disputed the fact that the foundation to their wealth building started with them committing themselves to saving a part of their income. And that principle of, thank you very much, Ikem, that's exactly it. Save, invest, and ensure. Now, that principle of savings, which these people have applied in their financial lives, is what enabled them to build their wealth, because they were making income and they were saving part of that income. While their mates and other people were busy consuming their income, they were busy building wealth from their own income, to the point that the wealth that they built started now sustaining their lifestyles. Meanwhile, their mates and their colleagues were sustaining their lifestyles from their income. But they took their time to delay the gratification. That is what savings does for you. Savings enables you to delay your gratification. That thing that you are so eager to have. Can you take a time and just say, let me delay this gratification a bit. Let me not buy these trainers for now. Let me save this money for these trainers and put it in a savings or investment account. Let me give it another couple of years. Maybe the money for these trainers is going to yield me some more money so that I can buy even the best sort of trainers. Then iPhone 14 is out now. The craze is there for everybody to rush to go and acquire iPhone 14. You know, over here is iPhone 14 is over £1,000. Over £1,000. And I was analyzing this whole thing with my friend over the weekend as well. And the craze to acquire the latest gadgets and the latest phone. And the guy said to me, do you know what I've noticed? That since iPhone 10, from iPhone 10 upwards, that he hasn't noticed any major difference in the features of the phones that these guys manufacture. That every year they come up with a brand new iPhone 13 or iPhone 14, and people rush and people run and people go and kill themselves to acquire it. The next year, the next one comes out, and there's a great similarity between the both of them. And a great percentage of people who rush to go and buy iPhone 14 or whatever the latest iPhone is don't even know how to use it. And then have you watched the adverts for these latest iPhones? They are mainly advertising the camera quality, advertising the ability to shoot a movie with that, advertising things like perfect pictures in the nighttime pictures and all that. These are things that they are using to attract people to come and buy the iPhones and to come and buy the latest phones. And then the question is, what are phones actually meant to do? What are phones actually meant to do? Are phones meant to, take photos only, or make movies, or take night photos? And I said, how many times do I even go out at night if the main attraction is perfect, nighttime photos? How many times do I go out at night? Do I really need a phone that can take a perfect nighttime photos? All right, the phone enables you to make movies and shoot movies, and I'm not a movie director. I don't shoot movies. It's useless to me if it's just about the possibility of using to shoot movies. Oh, perfect camera scene. Yes, I love nice photos, but I'm not a photographer. I like taking family photos and uploading them and all that, but that's not the real deal for me when it comes to phone. So what are phones actually meant to do? So if I spend over £1,000 to acquire iPhone 14, for example, what is it meant to do for me? To help me take better photos? Because iPhone didn't tell me exactly how that phone is going to help me make better calls, send better text messages, send better WhatsApp messages, communicate with people the way, the Facebook app on iPhone 14 is the same thing on iPhone 7. The Twitter app, if I need to connect with people, all the social media apps, they're all the same. So if I really want to jump into that and I want to buy that, why do I really need to spend that much on that. So my dear friends, you can see that people say they cannot save, right? Because the things that they have considered more important to them are the things that they have placed more importance on. Did you get that? People say they cannot save because the things they have considered more important to them are the things that they have placed more importance on. When you set your priorities right, you begin to know that there is a difference between essential expenditures and frivolities. And essential expenditures are as essential as you make them be. There are things that you cannot do without when it comes to expenditures. Running your home, heating, paying rent, buying food, and those are basic essentials. But then when it comes to things like, eating out, spending money on your phone, repairing buying more shoes and more clothes, buying more wristwatches and more earrings and, all the trinkets, making sure that you're up to date with this and that, buying bigger TVs and buying new cars and buying bigger cars and buying bigger houses and all the rest of them. Those are decisions that you're making on your own. They're not really essential. So you could possibly cut down on your consumption to increase your savings, because your ability to save is a function of your consumption desires. What your desires are, what you consume, is what is exactly stopping you from being able to save as much as you would want to save. So if you want to start saving more, start consuming less. It's as simple as that. We talked about investments, as the investment is now what you will now use to build on the foundation called savings. So when you are investing, some of the questions that they asked me during that event was, so what do we invest in really? How do we access these investment platforms so that we can invest in that? And I said, it's, if you live like in the UK, you can Google investment companies and they will come up and you just sign up with them and you will see different investment options. And they will even ask you questions bordering on your risk appetite, your risk capacity, and your risk profile. Because they want to make sure that you are putting your money where your risk profile fits. So, and that is the first thing you need to do. Understand your risk profile before you invest. Are you risk averse? Or are you a medium kind of investor in the middle, not too risk averse and not too adventurous? Or are you an adventurous kind of investor? The adventurous investors are the ones that are willing to take more risks. The risk averse are the ones who are not willing to take risks. They prefer just safety of their money. If the returns are small, they are fine. The medium people are the ones that are just in between, okay? Not too adventurous, not too risk averse. If you understand where you stand in that risk profile thing, then you can now analyze your risk capacity and your attitude to your risk capacity and your risk, your ability to take in risks, right? So that risk capacity means how much can you afford to lose? Yeah? How much your risk appetite and your risk capacity, how much can you afford to lose? If your last card is £5,000, can you afford to lose that £5,000? Because investment is such that you can lose everything you have put into that investment. That's how risky it is. Again, you can also gain double what you have put in there over a period of time. That's how volatile investments are. If you look at your risk capacity, can you afford to lose that £5,000, which is the only money you have? If you cannot afford to lose all of it, then it is risky for you to invest the whole of it into anything at all. Your risk appetite is then, how much risk can I stomach emotionally? If I lose this money, how am I going to react to it emotionally? Is it going to put me, am I going to be in a suicide mode? Am I going to be inconsolable if I lose this money? That is the risk appetite. That is what you're analyzing. Your risk tolerance. That's what it is. Your risk tolerance is basically your emotional reaction to loss. So before you invest, look at your risk capacity and look at your risk tolerance. Can you tolerate this risk? How much of it can you tolerate? How are you going to deal with it emotionally? If you know that emotionally that this is going to crush you, if you lose everything, then you are not a high risk taker. So you better look for an investment that when you lose that money, it will not cost you that much of emotional pain, and you cannot take that much emotional pain. So you are going to be looking for less risky investments. Okay, so we looked at that risk tolerance and risk capacity and analyzing your risk profile. The other important point we made was, before you invest, make sure you understand what you are investing in. Don't just take money and hand it into put it somewhere without understanding how that works. Now, one of the things that was really some time ago was cryptocurrencies. People were rushing into cryptocurrencies because they heard their friend told them that is what they've been making money out of. So they wanted to rush into it before it becomes too late. They knew nothing about cryptocurrencies. They have read nothing about cryptocurrencies. They have learned nothing about cryptocurrencies. They just jumped into it. If you don't know anything about that investment, my dear, the risk goes higher with every level of ignorance in every investment. Yeah. The risk goes higher with every level of ignorance in every investment. So if you don't know anything about that area, the best bet for you, the safest bet for you is get a professional who knows their stuff in that area and invest with that professional, or take a professional advice before you do that. Because lack of knowledge in that investment is going to cost you money. Now, I talked about insurance as being the protector of your wealth. How does that happen? Insurance protects that wealth by ensuring that in the event of any risk, you do not deplete the wealth that you have worked so hard to build. So if, for example, you have an income protection insurance and you are unable to go to work, you're unable to earn money because you fell ill or you were involved in an accident or you fell sick, yeah? What the next thing will be is you're going to think about your savings. Okay, now I have no income coming in. I'm going to dip hands into my savings and I'm going to be spending those savings. Or I have these shares that I bought there. I'm going to liquidate those shares so that at least I can feed and pay my bills. So what you are doing in that instance is you are depleting the wealth that you have built because there is nowhere else that income is coming from. But imagine if you had income protection insurance and that income protection starts paying you some money when you're unable to work or when you're unable to earn any income. What that does is that instead of tampering with your investments, instead of tampering with your wealth, you start taking the money from that insurance, thereby you're protecting that wealth. And the wealth keeps growing in the background. The wealth keeps growing on its own. You're not touching it. You are protecting that wealth because you have insurance that has protected you against, depleting that investment. Or if, for example, you are diagnosed of critical illness, and you had critical illness insurance. That critical illness insurance will pay you a lump sum to manage your physical situation, your health condition until you get better. So if you survive that critical illness and you get better and get out of it, you have been able to manage that situation all through. You can even use the money from the critical illness insurance to pay off your mortgage, if that is what is required. You can use to live your life as normal as possible until you get back on your feet. So what you have done in that instance is you not touching your savings or your investments. They are still there. They are still growing. They are still there. They are still serving the purpose that you want them to serve. Meanwhile, the insurance is taking care of things that you cannot take care of at that moment in time. So you can see how insurance has protected that wealth for you. So dear friends, that's why we said these three things are the things that determines how far your wealth is consolidated. Save, invest, and insure. If you do these three things, you are on a perfect path to creating wealth and keeping that wealth. we're going to say goodbye today from here now, and on Wednesday I'm going to see you guys again and talk about the mortgage and property side of the events we had in over the weekend. So have yourself a lovely day, and I'll catch you again on Wednesday. Take care now, and God bless.